I asked Thomas Bitmatta, hey, how many races have you won? And he goes, this year? I don't know, maybe 200 or more? Like, jeez, dude. Like, man, tone it down a little bit. Let someone else win. Anyways, Thomas has been racing for quite a while. And it all started for him in Dubai. So he got to go to Dubai, and then from then it just took hold of him. So he is, as I said, now one of the top racers in the world. Pretty amazing, and I hope that you enjoy this episode. I want to make a note about my Patreon. My patrons now get an extra benefit. They get Discord. So they can come in and talk to me, talk to each other. We've got voice chat. I'm going to be introducing more benefits very soon, so check it out in the link below. And like, subscribe, comment, do all that good stuff, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. So, two questions. How did you end up doing at the Dubai race?
Okay. So this one, the qualifying was strange. We didn't get to see each other's times, so we never knew where we sat in that. They didn't really tell us. Yeah. The Dubai, actually, I should preface this first. The organization from catering, track design, like toilets and stuff was incredible, right?
Well, I mean,
Dubai's a tendency to do that. They throw money at things like a lot, right? It's like if something doesn't work, just throw more money at it, it'll fix itself. And so like the toilets, they had like more than enough for like a proper exhibition, right? Like I went to the Formula One recently, recently, a year ago. And it's like the catering is like that level, in some ways better, some ways worse. And like the way they had tents set up, air conditioning for everyone. They had like a main track and like an acro section, and they had like all these fun other drone things, and they had the Skydive Dubai like exhibition stands and whatever. Like it was ridiculous. The organizing of like where stuff was, toilets were like never more than like 20 meters away, so it was like, you were just always comfortable. They nailed that stuff. The actual race organizing, completely like just out the door, right? Right. They had these like HD systems, right? Streaming systems. They had 5 of them for 64 pilots.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that stuff, like, they just completely just didn't get right. I mean, to be fair, no one had done a race at that scale. No one has done like $1 million event since then. I mean, just who's in the position to do that, right? So they did try to do something really ambitious sort of before everyone. So they can they mess up that stuff. I kind of wish that someone got the budget they had then, but with the knowledge we have now, because then you could just do something absolutely ridiculous and just nail absolutely every single aspect of the event. But at that time they had the money, but not the experience, basically. So for me, the way my racing happened, we did the practice laps. I was really happy. I was feeling really, really good. Got a hold of other people's DVR, so I got to see sort of where I sat with other people, and like I knew I was sitting well. The way they had the launch set up, it was basically like F1 grid. So there was like 2 rows of like 2 rows, and then it goes like, I think it was 3 back. I can't remember if it was 4 pilots or 6 pilots, but it was like full F1 grid where everyone's staggered behind each other, staggered start. And they were calling the start kind of funny, where they'd sort of sometimes change it up. And anyway, in my race, it was just 3, 2, 1, go, I think they were saying. On 3, someone took off. And at that point, with the speeds we were traveling at, by the time they said go, that person's club was right above mine. And I just basically went to launch, went straight into them, and that was it. That was my race done.
Oh, God.
And they didn't rerun that. And then later on, Tommy, oh my God, he got disqualified for being on the wrong frequency, which was race legal, like the day before the event. They changed the rules without telling anyone, and he got disqualified for that. And they reran a race for that. Like they reran that one after that happened, but they didn't rerun my one. And then it was just like, it's one of those things. Like it was really good to go there, but that was like, I think that's probably partly why I am the way like I act at events and stuff, where it's very much focused on the people and hanging out. Because sort of after that happened, where it's like, sort of, oh, the race was over, I traveled less than a meter. That was sort of like the wake up call of, okay, racing can be pretty volatile and whatever. So just sort of learn to hang out with people and, actually enjoy the people aspect. And then if you're lucky to, win races and that, then, you get that too as the bonus. So I think that's probably, it's one of those things where I'd love to know what happened if things played out differently. Mm-hmm. But then for the same token, I think without that experience, I wouldn't be who I am today. So it's like, if someone was like, oh, you could change that now. And like, hypothetically, win whatever. It's just like, I don't think I'd still change it, because I think even if I did change that, like, I wouldn't be able to enjoy race events like I do now. And I wouldn't be like, it's helped me be a better person, basically.
Yeah. I mean, oftentimes it's, and I know this is true in my life. It's not the great times that define you. It is the hard, disappointing, terrible failure times that tend to define you. And they can define you either which way. Like sometimes you come out better and sometimes you come out worse.
Yeah. I think with that event too, because it was the first event first with that many different parts, like, that caliber of parts, but then also that much money involved. Like it was sort of, obviously you want to hang out with people and that, but it was still, everyone was sort of kind of more serious back then, I guess. And I think with the way that race event ran, it sort of lightened things up, because people sort of realized, well, okay, you can't always rely on, the racing being perfect. So, that's sort of, I think, what's developed a lot of the community aspect now, where everyone's really supportive of each other and helping each other out, because I think, everyone wants to have the best go and have the best time in an event. So, yeah.
So, yeah, that's like 4 or 5 years ago now, right?
Yeah.
All right. So let's fast forward to, what is it? February 24th, here in 2020. It's February 25th for you. So, how many races, and I guess even more importantly, how many championships have you won since that time?
Oh, I have no idea. It's been a lot. I know last year in race heats, I won more than 200 race heats. But there's been a lot of events I've been to. Probably, I think some of the most notable ones, the Australian Nationals, from 2015, sorry, not 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2019, I've got. The Aussie Open 2017, 18, and 19. IO 2017, 2019. And also IO 2017 spec race. And that was the thing. That was cool. There's a whole story behind that, because all the frames were they were US frames that were for the event, and we couldn't get any of them in Australia. So we had to I think we got Chad Kappa to go to the flight test warehouse, pick up a frame from them, and then deliver it to us at the event. And then we just it was just so funny. We had a couple frames, and there would every crash, more of it would fall apart, and so we'd just be tape and cable ties to keep the thing together. So yeah, that thing's yeah, it was a pretty crazy race. That one was and that's basically the first international race I won. Mm-hmm. And so that was probably for me a super sort of emotional event. That IO, where I was going through high school, year 12, so final year of high school, sort of, the make or break for you're going to get straight into university, or you're going to have to find another pathway. I wasn't going to let my grades drop, so I was putting heaps of effort into that, using my lunch times to study more, so I could actually have free time at home to fly. So it'd be basically use my lunch times to study and all my school time and most of my home time in the weekdays, so that I get a whole weekend free to practice. Mm-hmm. That was sort of the strategy I was going with. And then, yeah, that's sort of all building up to going to the IO. I was hoping for making top 32 was sort of my goal. As in, obviously, racing volatile, anything can happen. But right. if I can get top 32, assuming things go my way, then at that point, at least from the racing perspective, the me putting effort into my flying and that's something I would walk away with really, really happy. But yeah, ending up with first getting the spec race, that was just oh my gosh, I just basically won an international competition world championship. That's sick. And then, coming next day into the IO where it's like, okay, we've got top 64, that's good. And then, narrows down to top 32. It's like, okay, this is like, that's how like yesterday was great. And then like already today I've had what I wanted, like from this point, just like whatever happens. And at that point, it was also getting late because, the IO always runs late consistently every single year. So it's like, getting late. I'm getting pretty tired at that point. So it's like, we're just going to just see what happens. Just, keep pushing through. And, our cameras weren't set up at night. So learning how to do all that at the event. And, then the field narrows down to the 16 and then the 8. And then before you know it, you're at the final 4. And then, I had that epic race with the gap, which I just like, I think it was a 3-lap race. And we finished with like a 0.2 of a second gap between me and the gap at the end over 3 laps. That was like the most ridiculous racing ever. And I feel like that's probably usually racing, I think we all scale back. Like, it's just a thing, you practice really hard and then you go to a race and you're like, 20-30% off your practice game. I think everyone does it just with nerves and whatever. I think that was the only time where I don't know what mode my brain flicked into, but it was like better than any of my practice flying I'd ever done. It was just like, whatever happened, my brain just like changed and it was like, just keep the throttle on, just keep going. And then, that happened. So that was like, I think, that was just ridiculous. That was like, being a school student and then having that, it was just like, how did I get here? What chain of events have led me to that point? So
do you think that like going in with, I just want to hit the top 32 and then getting to the finals, like, do you think when you got to the top 32, you're just like, okay, I'm good. Like whatever happens from here on out, I'm good. Or like, do you think you were just more relaxed going into it than anybody else?
I don't think really more relaxed. I was definitely very tired.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I got sick like a day before the final. Like on the spec race, I was getting sick. And so on the main race, I had like Panadol and like everything just to keep me from falling apart. The next day, I like went to the event for like an hour just to hang out with people. And then I just went straight back home and went to sleep just because I was just completely out of everything. Like, trying to fight a cold at that point because my immune system was completely gone.
I hear that's actually a thing with you.
I don't have the worst luck with that kind of stuff. But at that event was probably like, because it was sort of my first issue, I was like, oh, come on, this can't be happening now. And like Dad had no voice when he was trying to spot me. So he's trying to spot me without a voice. I think it was sort of, I can't remember what happened. I remember there was one time I was freaking out about my camera not looking good. Like I was having trouble flying at night and I was like 4 seconds off my normal pace from like the daytime. And then I think I went into Luke Bannis's DVR and I was like, hang on, his vision's the same as mine. It's like, if he can fly like that, just keep going. It was sort of little things like that. And just sort of, people give me a tap in the back, like, hey, keep going, good job. That's one thing crazy about the community. Everyone's so supportive of each other, right?
Yeah.
It's like everyone provides, good luck. Let's give it our best and whatever. So I think just sort of all that. The last 2 races, I had mid-air collisions. One of them dropped me into like at that point, I think it was the top 3 would get into the final and they'd have like a race of the next 6 to see who'd get that last spot. And I had a mid-air, I think with Young Rock, that dropped me into that lower 6. And then in that race of the final 6 to get the last spot into the finals, we mid-aired twice in the one race. But we both kept going. Like, it's really ridiculous. And you watch the DVRs, right? Like, there was a tunnel section. I think, was it tunnels? Yeah, it was a tunnel. I think it was either hurdles or a tunnel. But we, like, hit, bounce around. Like, we literally do, like, the opposite movement to get back into the gate. And we just, like, start flying side by side again. It was ridiculous. Like, it looks like something out of a movie. Yeah. Like, I feel like if you're going to, like, make an anime or something of, like, drone racing, like, that scene, you could just straight put into the story. Like, not even have to exaggerate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yamrock and I have a habit of mid-airing. Like, there isn't really that many events we haven't had a mid-air collision. We just, I guess, take similar lines, and we always tend to just fall on top of each other.
God, that's funny. I mean, if you end up in a race with him, do you just expect that you're going to mid-air at some point?
Pretty much, yeah. It's pretty much a running joke that we just like, okay. It's like, this. Good luck. Hopefully, we don't mid-air each other. So I think
other people on the side going, yes. They're in a race together. One of them's going out.
It's pretty funny. I'm pretty sure even in this last FAI grand final, we had a couple clips. I don't think we took each other out, but we definitely clipped each other a couple times. It's just like, this is what we do. That's for some reason, it's like, you even look at the DBI, you can't say, oh, someone's not overtaking properly, because it's just, we're literally flying side by side. And we just like such similar lines, and we're just luckily not clipping, and then eventually, you know, we have a little clip. But yeah, it's sort of a running joke. Like, we've always thought it'd be cool if we were like on the same team, because like we are sort of really similar style. So yeah.
So how many racing leagues have you raced in now?
As in like TV leagues or just like
any of them? TV, multi GP. I mean,
so I've done multi GP. FAI is not really big in Australia.
okay.
I think we've had 2 FAI events ever in Australia, so I'm not sure if you can really count me as doing that as like a league thing. But then I've done the grand finals overseas in China twice, so I guess that's another league I've competed in. The DR1 series, I did the 2018 series. Locally in Victoria, we have 2 racing clubs, Eastside FPV and MMRC, and they have like seasonal races. So you have like a summer season and winter season, sort of half. I think each one's 5 rounds or 6 rounds, and so I've competed in those every year. Some of the events I've missed in Victoria because obviously I've been, you know, out at other races. But Eastside, I've done most of their races. So there's a lot. There's a lot of different leagues around right now, which is pretty cool. So IDSE in Korea.
Okay.
Yet to fly in a KAMA or KDRA race yet. So that's sort of, I was hoping to do it last year, but both times I had, like, both events I was like, yeah, I'll do these. I ended up having stuff on. And one of them, I got sick on the way home. Like, I got home and I guess, you know, just in the plane, everyone's cooked up. I like started getting sick, and it's like, I had like the Turkey event coming up, and then straight after that, the US champs, and then straight after that, the race in China. And I think there was like the AU nationals in between all that. So it was like, I'm gonna, you know, miss that race, recover, and then hopefully I'll do well in the other events. So that was sort of the plan. Yeah, so I still need a race in those leagues. They're like ones that I really want to do, but there's been a lot. Yeah,
it's a lot.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite, or can and maybe you can't say?
I think my favorite single race would be the IO, the multi-GP IO, just because you got that many pilots, that many tracks going. Like when we had Sebring, which is also multi-GP, because it's like it's not only a race, it's an exhibition. You got limited packs, right? And so because you've sort of got limited packs and that, like, you obviously do socialize, but you do want to use those packs as well as you can. So you'll tend to, you know, have more rests when you can rather than, you know, socializing. When you're on the track, you tend to be a lot more focused, a lot, you know, more just, okay, what do we have to do to sort of do well at the race? At the IO, because you're getting that many packs in and it's like every day is another race, you get to have the full social aspect of the hobby, which is just, you know, as you know, with our sport, it's incredible. We have such an amazing community. So getting to hang out with everybody, but then also when it comes down to crunch time, you get to do the serious racing and really push your hardest. You have amazing pilots there. So you sort of get to, you know, obviously as much as I love to socialize, and I am a racer too, and I get to do both things. I get to, you know, hang out with people, talk about, you know, the crazy sport and whatever else, you know, we have in common. And then I get to race my heart out. So that's like my favorite single event for sure. I think if I did an event in Australia, I'd probably model it off of the IO-esque, with that sort of environment of, you know, getting lots of packs in, having that social aspect, but then also having a really, really professional race.
Yeah, it definitely seems like, I mean, at least at the top level, IO has really figured out the race format. I mean, it's, you know, they're still tinkering with the rules, but, you know, my son and I sat down and watched nationals, and I mean, it was well run. Like you, and that, granted, that's nationals.
The nationals was actually really good.
Yeah,
that's got to be the best video I've ever had an event. There was one time I had small video issues, and they were just like, "Oh, I'd go to race band 7," and it was fixed. That was like the cleanest video I've ever had at a race. That was great. I really enjoyed nationals. That's probably like one of definitely top ran. Like IO is always, I feel like, ran really smooth, except for the fact they never meet their schedule. They always end up running into the night, but you know, that's a big party anyway, so whatever. The champs, they actually ran on schedule with everything. I think they were ahead of schedule at one point. Even with the rain and stuff, they're like completely flooded out a whole day.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like they did incredible job of running at the Nats. Like it was everything ran so smooth and everyone got so many packs. Yeah, they nailed it on that one. So, but I think, yeah, definitely the environment though of the IO is what they've got right, where it's that full social aspect and the full racing, which is just like getting both of those in one event. Like I'd say with a lot of the FAI Grand Final, because you've got that many pilots and because it's the only race the FAI runs themselves, they're still working out a lot of the rules and stuff. So the racing is a bit hit and miss. Actually, this last year was really, really good compared to the first year they ran it. But the social aspect there, because you do have that much time sort of there, you get to hang out with everyone and you get like a team from each country, right? So you get to hang out with Team Japan for a bit and then go to Team Korea and then go to Team Spain and then go to like all the European teams. So you sort of get to hang out with everybody. But the IO, you do get to do the racing and the socializing with everybody. Yeah, it's just like it's a really good balance they've got going with that.
Yeah, it's funny. I've actually never been to an event outside of my region. So I've been to a few races, but for the most part, I fly alone, or with my kids. And everybody's like, if you go to one event, go to IO. And if you go to two events, then go to IO and go to the West Coast Throwdown. Like those are the.
Yeah, I haven't been to the West Coast race, but
yeah, it's funny.
I can definitely recommend.
Well, and it's funny because I think the vibe is very different between the two. Like I talked to Derek Brown and he was like, yeah, the West Coast Throwdown is, it's like a more family oriented event. Whereas I think IO, like you said, is kind of like a big drone racing party.
Yeah, that's very much what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So one question, and then we'll probably leave the racing ideas for a little bit. Who maintains your fleet? Do you maintain it? Is it your dad? Like who? I've talked to Evan, I've talked to Vanover. Both of them have different people that kind of like set them up and maintain their fleets. Like when they get into serious race time. Do you have somebody?
It's sort of me and my dad. We rotate. So I feel like Dad was definitely working on the quads earlier, especially when I was in school. Like he tended to build a lot of things. And then also, because I had homework and stuff, he'd be like repairing and all that. And then I feel like 2018, that sort of started to change. I started building my own quads a lot more, just because I knew how I wanted things done. However, when I was at the DR1 series and I was in Europe, obviously I didn't have everything to build my quads there. I was also Team Flight One, so I was doing, working on their stuff. We had a race coming up. I can't remember where it was. It might have been Turkey. And they had slightly different regulations, so I couldn't use my normal quads. Dad built that fleet for me. Okay. And converted my other quads at home over. And then when I got home, I took over again. All of last year, Dad pretty much didn't touch a quad. I did all of them, all of my fleet and all of Dad's quads. Dad's 3 quads. So
I'm gonna stop you right there. So I don't like building. Like there's just something about it. I think I ended up kind of like burning out on building. My middle son is like fascinated by it. And so over the past few weeks and a couple months, we have been periodically coming out here. This is like a shed and this is where all the drone stuff is. And I've been teaching him how to build quads, right? And he's been watching like all these Bardwell and XJet and Rotor Riot, and he's watching all these build videos. And so now he's starting to kind of get it. And he's 12. And I'm like, I bet I could turn everything over to him within like 3 months.
That'd be cool. I think if you got someone passionate about building, that's good. That's really good.
He's also a better pilot than I am, but that's beside the point.
I think with building, like I enjoy new builds. Like when I had to build this fleet, it was like we were playing with 20x20 tech and stuff, right? And some new 3D printed parts and that. So that was kind of fun, right? I got to like, work out how I'm gonna, plan out the build, how things gonna go together, how am I gonna go about it. I really enjoy that, like the first time. When you're building a fleet, that's really repetitive. It's like, you're getting ESCs out of the packaging for like 30 minutes. Then you're gonna get the motors out of the packaging for like another hour. And then it's like, you haven't even started building anything yet. You're still just taking these out of packaging.
Yeah.
I don't like the fleet building. It's just something you have to do. I also don't like breaking things. I think because I come from that fixed wing background, I really don't like to smash things. I hate damaging props and that, even though it's something that's a part of the hobby. If it's in a race, I don't mind, but in practice and stuff, I tend to err more on the side of caution when I fly. Yeah. So I think Dad probably is like me. He enjoys the first time building, but not the fleet stuff. The fleet stuff's just repetitive. Yeah, I think for me, for a fleet right now, like I've got 3 quads at the moment just because the combo of New Year and completely stopped us from getting parts. So we were down to buying our own motors. So yeah, I'm hoping all that gets fixed up also, especially for the people that are having to deal with it right now, just because it is definitely not good.
I can't even imagine what an education, the things that he has learned in his life so far as a racer. If he were my son, or if one of my sons got to this level, I would say go for it. You know what? College will wait. And it's so cool to see Thomas growing and getting faster and learning things that he probably wouldn't learn anywhere else. Anyways, in the next episode, we talk about his gear, what he likes, what he designs, stuff like that. There was one moment in next episode where I'm just like, what? That's amazing. Anyways, talk to you soon. Bye.